Hello and welcome to the Blue Monday podcast, now in our 6th season looking at the exciting happenings of Ipswich Town Football Club. My name is Mikey Smith. This is the flagship show, and today my Blues crew talking about the Blues game against Crewe is David Diamond and Craig Fimbo. How are you both?
Good. Thank you very much.
And good. I'm guessing you were both members of the Blues crew back in the day?
No, I've got to say, embarrassed to say after my time, but I'm sure Craig must have been probably.
I don't know if I ever was, to be fair. I think I just had like a membership in those orange plastic folder things. I think that was as much as I got. I don't think we ever splashed out for the full kit and caboodle of a mascot or Junior Blues.
Junior Blues, that's
yeah.
It, yeah.
I was a Junior Blue, then it became the Blues crew. We used to get to meet the players at Christmas time, and we used to go to Totally Brilliant, and you could get signed pictures, and then obviously they get left around and people just pick up your signed pictures. You don't even
you even have a chance to become mascot, don't you, Mikey?
Yeah, although my mascot appearance came a few years after I left the Junior Blues, I think. I was a Senior Blues.
We're taller than 50% of the team. That's unbelievable.
All but Jason DeVos. But yeah, so we've already gone back into that embarrassing story for me.
My boy was a mascot, actually. I know we're going a bit off topic here. I used to have a friend that worked at Ipswich, and for one game they didn't have anybody to be mascot, so he gave me a ring on like the Monday. Said, "Does you mind doing it tomorrow night?" And it was a derby match under Mick McCarthy. I think it was 0-0. It was freezing cold. It was like the coldest match of the season. Anyway, all he remembers of the day is, apart from getting a hug from Dave McGoldrick, was how hairy Brett Pitman's legs were.
Brilliant. And this is why you should be a mascot later on in life, because you remember more of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I could give you a full play-by-play. Craig, this isn't even the most exciting video call you've done today, is it? I gather.
No, can't say too much, but yeah, I had a chat earlier on today for an hour or so with a former Ipswich player of a certain era who, yes, safe to say is still very much involved and very much an Ipswich Town supporter. But yes, hopefully in the next few days, week or so, we'll have a bit more news and yeah, it'll be a good listen, I think. Excellent.
Yeah, something nice for us all to look forward to. Let's talk about the news and another man, a former Ipswich star who is still a supporter of the club, is Kieran Dyer, who's officially started his new role as under-23s manager this week. Paul Lambert was asked about this in his press conference on Friday. He said the vacancy needed filling and Dyer knows the club well. So, yeah, really glowing stuff from Paul Lambert.
That was a bit of an odd comment, though, wasn't it? A vacancy needed filling, did it?
Yeah. There was some strange comments about Nash.
He's sort of moved,
suggesting that Lambert doesn't need a scout. But
I'm intrigued to know who made the decision that Dyer was required and offered in the job. I'm assuming it's a Leo Neil Evans appointment rather than a Lambert appointment. I just wonder whether we're actually getting some sort of succession planning put in place.
Yeah, that
was going to be my question. So, do you both think that he is potentially being groomed to be our next first team manager? Well, maybe not in the short term. But...
Well, he's managing the 23s, so the answer, I guess, would be yes. I mean, he's made no secret. Dyer has he? I mean, he's got obviously all his coaching badges, and he's obviously he must have picked stuff up from the great managers he's worked with. But what does it alarm me? I don't think it does really. But what he has always said, if he ever did go into management, it'd probably be with his great mate, Craig Bellamy, who's at Anderlecht, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, Vincent Kompany.
Yeah. So that would be an interesting combo. But no, great. And as Craig said about the former player he was speaking about too earlier on, still very passionate about the local lads, still extremely passionate about the club. As most ex-players who we've known or speak to seem to be, but especially Dyer. And I mean, you also have to look at Dyer's comments that came out this week, and which was, I think we should mention Andy Warren's brilliant piece on 2000. Just the again Dyer speaking out about the final, how great for the team who's been there, but secretly so jealous and gutted that he wasn't out there on the pitch.
Yeah, even though he was in an England tracksuit set to play for England at Wembley a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Lambert will maybe need a lot of negative results to be relieved of his duties. But on Wednesday, we found out that he did have a negative result in the form of his COVID test. So he was back on media duty, which we all know that he enjoys during the week. And ahead of the game against Crewe, he had some words to say about Luke Wolfenden. This really is a deja vu for me because he's come out again and said that Wolfenden needed a kick up the backside. Dave, Wolfenden has obviously found his way back into the side now. Are we a better side with him in it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think we'll get on obviously to yesterday. I think it sort of showed ultimately. It sort of showed yesterday. I think if we're gonna persist with this passing style and passing it short from the back, keeper getting it to the centre halves. Yeah, he's we've said all along. He's got to be in the team because he's the best footballing centre half we've got. So he needs to play. Kick up the backside. Odd one. I don't know. Maybe perhaps he does come across. He's not nasty in any way, is he? He doesn't come across like that, and he comes across quite I don't know, laid back, and maybe that's where Lambert's coming from with that. But obviously we don't see them train, do we? But yeah,
perhaps he needs to be more chantry, less East Bergholt.
Yeah, more assertive. Well, there you go. Yeah,
he was interviewed, wasn't he, by Brenner at the weekend? I think I listened to it. Was it post? Must have been before the match, actually, in the lead up to the match, and he seemed to be a little bit confused and bemused by the comment. Wolfenden was bemused by why he's being singled out by Lambert as having requirement for a kick up the bum. So yeah, I think he's as confused as everyone else.
But if it just serves to if it just serves to boost him and actually spur him on, then fair enough. If it's a sort of bit of Lambert psychology.
Yeah,
God knows, don't know.
And to be fair to Wolfenden, he said himself, I wasn't in a position to be going knocking on the manager's door because we were winning each week and keeping clean sheets. It was just a case of biding my time and bits and pieces like that. So
yeah,
it doesn't look like Lambert's got that one badly wrong, because it wasn't like none of us were like really calling for Wolfenden to come back in until at least after the first defeat. But I think we're all in agreement that it is good to see him back in the heart of the defence.
Yeah.
On Friday, we got some injury updates with James Norwood and Tristan Nydam back in training. Skews, Vincent Downs, did I say Vincent Young and Downs are still a way off though. Dave, which of these injured players do you think would make the biggest impact in the team if they were to come back in, let's say?
I think
right
Mills made a big thing about it yesterday, and it's clearly Downs, isn't it? A fully fit Downs would really just slot in there. If he is, going to play, Dezelle and Bishop. Well, he is playing Dezelle and Bishop. Yeah, it's crying out for someone like Downs, really. I was a bit surprised that Hughes perhaps didn't come back yesterday, just to add a little bit more bite and a little bit more physicality in there. But again, Mills said again yesterday that Downs is more than that. Downs is box to box as well, as he breaks a play up, loves a tackle, and can do the box to box stuff as well. So a big miss. And what it was interesting, Mills said, in his opinion, and I don't know if you guys heard it after on radio stuff, I stuck with it for once yesterday afterwards. He said, in his opinion, there's two quality players at this level in our squad, and it's Downs and Stephen Ward.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, they've both proven that they're very good at this level, whereas a lot of the other players haven't really necessarily done enough. I mean, for Vincent Young, I think he's a top League One player, but he hasn't been able to prove it over enough games, has he?
And Ward, I think he's looking at Ward. He's looking at Ward, the player that's played in the Championship, and obviously the player that's played in the Prem as well. And international as well.
Yeah, Craig, would you agree with that one, that it's Downs, or would you maybe go for James Norwood because we're looking a bit short on options up front?
No, I think
this is talking about a fit and firing James Norwood.
Yeah, I think Downs is the obvious one, isn't he? Downs is he would just answer a lot of questions of that central midfield, wouldn't he? In one foul swoop, as Dave said, he does more than one job in there, and it would allow Dezelle to concentrate more on what he does best, and allow Bishop to concentrate more on what he does best, because he pretty much is almost two players in one, isn't he? I'm just about KV White, Vincent Young. It's over a year now, isn't it? It was Southend away last year when he went off with his groin, and we haven't seen him since over a year. Known.
He did play pre-season, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah,
didn't
he played away at Tottenham, and he played away at Colchester.
And then just broke down again. Same injury. I just lost track of it. Does it say broke down with the same injury? Is it?
No, it's his Achilles now.
Achilles this time, yeah.
Okay.
But he's played 9 matches for us. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the difference he made. I appreciate Chambers has done brilliantly so far this year, so we haven't really missed him too much, have we? But you just. He was
outstanding. He was just a different level, wasn't he? Absolute different level. With a goal threat as well, for Christ's sake, But you've almost forgotten about him, how good he was, really. And you're quite right, Craig. I think we should. Chambers has done excellently well in that. He's really surprised me. I think I said this last week. He's done brilliantly well at right back. You can't knock him, really.
No,
but
absolutely not. Chambers obviously was previously played at right back by one Mick McCarthy, who is now back in management. Came really out of the left of field this one. He's taken over at Apoel in the Cypriot Premier League. That's a decent gig if you can get it, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah, I'd imagine he's down boots at the moment, stocking up on his factor 50. Nice little retirement gig, I'd have thought.
Yeah.
Before
is that what it is, guys? Is this sort of move it semi-retirement or?
You'd think so. Swan song in the sun, unbelievable. What a gig! You're right. What a gig that is. Fantastic. Good luck to him. Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
I'd imagine he would have, would jumped at the chance of managing again in the Championship, but it just hasn't. His time sort of passed. Him and Pulis, that sort of type of manager, I don't suppose are particularly fashionable anymore, are they? So, he's been given the opportunity, and Christ, why not? Absolutely.
Yeah, good luck to him.
Absolutely.
So, is he going to take Terry with him though for his Friday afternoon striking sessions?
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? Those two tearing it up in Cyprus.
Yeah, in their speedos
on the Uzo. I'm going the wrong place there, aren't I? What do you drink in Cyprus, Dave?
Uzo's Greece. Do you know what? One place I haven't been to Cyprus. I reckon it's some form of Uzo. It must be. Surely it travels. I'm sure it is. Yeah. Incidentally, you get back to golf. They're playing the old European tour there. That looks really nice this week. Aphrodite Hills. Very nice. Yeah.
So even when we're on air, Craig, you have to.
You can't get away from it.
Who's your pick for the Masters, Craig?
Ian Woosnam. Is he still a thing?
He probably still plays, don't know. Probably if he hasn't sort of retired, I'm sure he still qualifies to tee it up at the Masters as he won it probably, or I'm sure you almost get a lifetime exemption. So might be a good shout, about $1 million. Probably.
He probably gets to play, doesn't he, and ends up missing the cut on about 50 over par after the first round, sort of thing.
Brilliant. One team who, I never know how to describe it in football. Would he be over par or under par? But anyway, the Ipswich women's team are doing brilliantly, aren't they? I'll try and ignore that attempt at a golf analogy there. Dave, they only won 3-1. Only won 3-1 against Norwich. But yeah,
they've been averaging about
third qualifying round of the FA Cup. So yeah, real potential for another big cup run this year.
Was it not the cup? That was a bit bizarre. It wasn't it? Because it was the actual. Was it not the women's cup final
today? This afternoon, yeah.
Yeah, and the team that knocked Ipswich out last season was Manchester City, so they got knocked out by the best team in the.
There you go. Well, that was 10-0, wasn't it? And they've been winning games 10-0 this season as well. And they won the last two like 10-0 or something ridiculous. Certainly one or two, but always good to beat them up the road, as GB would say. So that's always a good result to see.
Happy days. So let's move into Saturday's game, and a blast from the past as Crewe Alexandra rocked up at Portman Road. Let's talk about the Ipswich team. First of all, we stuck with our usual 4-3-3 system. No surprises there. And there was just one change from the team who rather unimpressively won against Gillingham during the week. Craig's favourite Alan Judge coming in for Jack Lancaster. Would you have made more changes than this, Craig? If so, what would they have been? Or do you think that one change is about right for an unimpressive win?
Yeah, I wouldn't have made that change, to be fair. A bit like Dave, I'd have had Hughes in instead of Judge. I was thinking earlier on about what must Hughes think. You think, well, Downs is out, so there's a chance I might get a game here. Nolan's out, there's a chance I might get a game here. He's not even getting in when Downs and Nolan aren't available. Alan Judge wasn't. he wasn't playing in the number 10 position. He wasn't playing the advanced midfielder. Bishop was playing the advanced midfielder. He was literally sitting just alongside Dazelle. So he was there as a bona fide central midfielder, which is, what Hughes has built his career on. It just seems that it reminded me a bit of like youth team football, where the manager's son is desperately trying to get his son into the team somewhere along the line just to get him a game. He's played more positions in that any formation than anyone else in the team. He's in a 4-4-2. He's probably played both wings. In a 4-5-1, he's played number 10. He's played wide in a 4-3-3. He's now playing central midfield, and we've yet to find a position that particularly suits him. So I wouldn't have had Judge in. Appreciate that in the end he may have contributed to the goal we scored. I probably wouldn't. Sears, I think, has been struggling a bit recently as well. He's all a bit huff and puff, isn't he? I know he's not your cup of tea at the moment, Mikey, in terms of his finishing prowess, but he's not really adding much, and he's making Edwards then therefore play out
on
position
the right.
On the right, yeah. I don't understand why Edwards isn't having got man of the match at Blackpool, scored 2 goals and got an assist. He's now barely played on the left since. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Bennett's play, or maybe Lancaster play a wide role to allow Edwards to play on the left, and maybe Lancaster or Bennett's on the right. That'd be my
when Lancaster came on, he came on in midfield, didn't he? No, it was quite late on in the game, but he didn't come on out wide, did he?
I think he came on for
Bishop. Was it Bishop?
Yeah,
Bennett's came on as well, didn't he? I think he came on for Bishop, didn't he? Because there was a surprise. Because I'm sure I was just expecting Hughes automatically to come on, and suddenly Brenner says, "Actually, it looks like Jack Lancaster's coming on." Well, okay. Yeah.
So Hughes maybe slipping even further back down the pecking order. But he hasn't been brilliant this season.
No, he hasn't.
No. He's been off the pace a bit.
He's the physical presence that maybe we've been lacking a little bit. I'll just go through the Crewe team. Some pretty unfamiliar names, but as we found out, a decent team of footballers. The name of their goalkeeper obviously stood out. William Jaskalainen, the son of Bolton and Finland legend Jussi Jaskalainen.
Yep.
So he started in goal. NG was at right back. Beckles, who was at Shrewsbury last season. Orford, centre back. Pickering was at left back. Then it was a midfield 3 of Ainley, Wintle and Lowry. They seemed like a decent midfield 3. And then it was Dale and Kirk either side of Mandron. You don't see many teams playing anything other than 4-3-3 at the moment, do you, in League One?
No. I don't think you see many teams play it quite as well as Crewe did at times.
And also negate us playing it as well, don't they? Not only did they play it well,
play through us, around us.
They stopped
anyway
us
they
playing
to.
it, didn't they? They stopped us from doing it.
Yeah.
Is the Crewe footballing philosophy still at the club, do you think? Do they still play football in the same way as what they did?
Crewe?
Yeah.
Very much so, on the evidence of what I saw yesterday. Yeah, very much so. Blimey. Yeah, really good. And, every player seemed comfortable, say Beckles perhaps aside, but every player just seems so comfortable on the ball, didn't they? Absolutely, good movement. But like a lot of teams we've played this season and, surrendered a lot of possession against, just no real cutting edge again.
That being said, Thomas Holy did have to make a couple of decent saves.
No, don't get me wrong. I thought Holy had his best game I've seen him have today, and probably I think everyone would agree with that. I think he was in the team of the week again for like second. I think he made the team of the week against Accrington a few weeks back. So Holy was outstanding yesterday. I mean, he has his critics, but he was brilliant yesterday.
Yeah, Holy made a couple of saves that you'd expect him to make in the early stages of the game. And Craig, you've said recently that Holy doesn't seem to make many saves that you wouldn't expect him to make, but in the 29th minute, he certainly did, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly that. And you're exactly right. And that's what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, or the last couple of times I've been on, is that Holy will make the saves that you expect him to save. He's a decent League One keeper, but he won't make the saves that win you matches. But he did at the weekend, didn't he? And he made the save you're referring to. The move from Crewe started at left back, and it worked its way over the pitch to right back, up the field to right wing, back over to the left wing. And it was, what's the name of the guy who's playing left? Kirk, wasn't it? Very impressed with Kirk.
Kirky lad.
Tall blonde-haired fella. He played a 1-2, didn't he, on the edge of the box? It got crossed into the far post, knocked back into the 6-yard box, and Holy's already sort of spreading himself before the guy gets to the ball, and that is a match winning save, what sort of save that we've been waiting for him to make. And as Dave was saying about Crewe and the style of play, they were just. It was just triangles, wasn't it? All over the pitch. They were just playing triangles and 1-2s, and it was just really nice to watch. And that was just a perfect example of how easy it is to do it if you do it right.
Were we just a bit off it, Dave, do you think, in the first half? Or was it just a case that they were better than us?
They were better than us, really. I don't think we just didn't have the ball, did we? Really? You know, and every time I think the difference was, I tell you what, the week. Just track back a week to the Lincoln game. A couple of weeks ago now. I've lost track now. Anyway, the Lincoln game, and I first half I listened. I set it up, and but I had the Lincoln commentary on. I didn't know till Rich told me there's a little button down the right hand side you can press and get our away commentary. And they were laughing at us. The Lincoln, I don't even know who the summariser was, or the player. I don't know. It was Tomo, but I don't know who Tomo was. And they were laughing at our style of football, saying, "Well, this is just passing for passing's sake." Because, and 2 or 3 times we did it, and they were just absolutely ripping it out of us. Because he said, "Well, hang on, they've had 25 passes all along the midfield, but centre half, midfield, right, all along the midfield." And their forward players haven't touched the ball once, and then it's gone back then to Enciala or Holy for a big hammer it up to launch it, and they were laughing at our football, saying, "Well, what's the point?" Almost, just can't really work out what the plan is here, And that's a difference with Crewe. There was a purpose, wasn't it? And as Craig said, they just play through us, around us, through us, triangles everywhere, really comfortable on the ball. I like the other midfielder, Lowry. He painted some really nice pictures, I thought. I just thought, they were really just miles better than us. We were off it slightly, but they were really good, really good.
Hmm.
As Dave said, we were missing Downs, mate. Just someone in there just to disrupt it, just to throw him, get stuck in, for God's sake.
Do you know what I heard?
Do you think that's too easy? That's too easy to say, though. That's what my Sunday team does. We always say when we've been outclassed, we point at who wasn't there. That's the
say that today. Craig's right. You say that. I just heard Roy Keane, which he would summarise Man U afterwards. Man U Arsenal, and he said the big difference here is no one smacked anyone, and he openly said it. He said, we just watched them play around us, and no one really, what really needed was someone to kick someone up in the air to say, look, you're not going to do this, and we didn't. And Downs, Craig's right. Downs went, not saying because all over the park they were doing it, not just perhaps in the central area, but Downs would have got amongst them or someone like that, and just basically,
it sets on their backside. It sets the tone, and it will. The gentleman I spoke to earlier on today was talking about it, and the captain that he had in his team saying that if the chips were down, this guy would just clean someone out, and it would set the tone. It doesn't necessarily need to be a shot or something that just needs something to spark the team. Say, well, hang on, if he's getting stuck in, then I'd better start pulling my weight as well.
Tell you what, more than anything, I said to my son watching the game yesterday, what would have been interesting yesterday, had there been a crowd there yesterday watching that, because they absolutely outplayed us. All right, we went in half-time 0-0, but we didn't have the ball, barely had the ball. They were good. They were good. Don't knock it. They were good, and they've gone toe-to-toe. And again, it shows perhaps they haven't got a cutting edge. They've gone toe-to-toe, I think, with Lincoln. They lost 1-0. Hull lost 1-0 at Sunderland or Portsmouth. They lost narrowly too. Which shows to me they just haven't quite got that end product, which clearly they didn't have yesterday. Although, as you said, the keeper played well.
Beat Doncaster, didn't they? A week before, was it?
Well, yes, true. They won at Donny, didn't they?
Yeah. Just after Doncaster dismantled us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I bet that was quite a watchable game, that one.
Yeah.
Against
Doncaster. Oh yeah, I mean they're really watchable. What was the move? Let's take the tone early on. The one and wide play was it Dale who absolutely done Edwards early on.
Yeah, Dale was on the right wing, wasn't he?
Yeah. No, they were good. They're nice to see. Good to see. Yeah, and again, probably a bit like the Gillingham game. Later on in the Gillingham game, but we could have had no complaints if we'd have gone in 2-0 down at half time. Certainly behind at half time.
The Crewe manager said that if it was a boxing match, the ref would have stepped in after the first 20 minutes. I mean, that's the second time of the week where the opposition manager has made comments along those lines. But this time, I think everyone's in agreement.
Justified, yeah. Evans was a bit over the top, perhaps, but he had it spot on, probably there, yeah.
Then taking the boxing analogy a bit further, as Dave was saying, they're probably more jabs than there were knockout punches, and that's probably why they just fall down, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hawkins did have a jab towards goal early in the second half. Maybe a sighter cross came in. He got his header on target. He was really quiet in the first half, so it was good to see him at least get in the box and get a chance. As it happened, on the hour mark, Dave.
A second. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry, I'm teeing you up for our goal. On the hour mark, again, it was Hawkins in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, they just fell asleep, didn't they? Short corner, and for once, really good thinking, I guess, by Judge. What left down the Sir Bobby end. Really good thinking. Just played it infield to Ward and just opened up the angle for the cross. And it was a hell of a good cross. Good delivery, in swinging, with pace. And you'd hope Hawkins with his size, and for once he did got there ahead of his marker. And keeper was static, had no chance from about 6 yards. Yeah. There was talk like Chambers celebrated quite as if he'd scored it, didn't he? But no, it was obviously Hawkins' goal. Probably undeserved at that point. Well, sorry, what I was trying to say, we'd certainly come out the second half with a bit more purpose, hadn't we? We certainly had. We needed.
Yeah, Ward was getting up the pitch, wasn't he, down the left?
Yeah, he was, and I think by that time Bishop had certainly had a couple of really good positive runs, which again, as Craig said, sort of sets the tone, sort of thing. So yeah, we were probably at that stage, second half, we were in the ascendancy, weren't we?
But just going back to Hawkins, Craig, do you think he needed that goal just as much as we did in that game?
Yeah, he probably did. But and you said he wasn't great in the first half, and nobody was particularly great. But he was just suffering from the fact there was no one within 20 yards of him, was he? Even if he was winning a header, there was nobody running onto it, and even if he was holding it up, which he didn't do particularly well or often, there was no one there to lay it off to either, was there? We were just so deep. But I don't mind Hawkins. He gets a bit of stick, but at the end of the day, we signed him as a mid-table League One team on a free transfer. We're not expecting to be signing Ibrahimovic, are we? So he played the right way. He lets other people play, as was shown in the first half a dozen matches of the season.
Absolutely. But if you were hoping that goal would bring us back to life, you'd have been disappointed. We just never really kicked on from there, did we? And Crewe with a better side. Holy had to make another couple of smart saves late on. A really good clean sheet for Holy. We held on for the 1-0 win. I'll just quickly mention the subs. It was Jackson that replaced Hawkins on 69. Lancaster, as we mentioned, came on for Bishop in the 80th minute. Keenan Bennett's again coming on very late for Freddie Sears. We perhaps would have. I mean, it's. I guess he's an attacking, inexperienced player. You maybe don't bring them on that early in a 1-0 win, but again, he only got 6 minutes.
I was impressed with Jackson when he came on. He looked very lively, didn't he? He looked back to full sharpness. Yeah. He was sprinting around. He was closing them down. He was got down the left and got a decent cross on at least one occasion, didn't he? I was really impressed with what little he did do. He did really well, I thought.
Obviously, he got the standard booking for Jackson, but yeah, he did do well. Yeah,
yeah. So 1-0 is how it finished. That's now 5 games at home that we've played in the league. 5 wins, 9 goals scored, and we're up to second. So we can't be too doom and gloom, because we never had a decent home record last season. After the first month of the season, did we? So it's good to be grinding out these wins, and we hope that that's a good sign rather than the repetition of last season.
And we hope it's not because there's no home crowd there, don't we?
Yeah, because that would mean that it's actually completely our fault that we didn't go up last season.
Well, I mean, I think
sometimes you have to look at yourself, guys.
I think that would have been interesting. That first half, if a crowd had been in yesterday, been edgy at best, I would have thought. But
just talking about the clean sheets, I've been really impressed with McGuinness. I know we've been talking about Wolfend earlier on, but you think McGuinness is 19 years old and he just looks a nice footballer, doesn't he? He's composed. He's got such a spring on him as well, isn't he? His headers, even from a standing jump, he's getting high. He's commanding. He's obviously comfortable on the ball. Very impressed with him. And was it mentioned? I can't think it was on the radio or not. The combined age of our 2 centre halves was 41 yesterday.
Yeah.
Almost pretty old, isn't it?
Oh, the 2 fullbacks almost double that, don't they? Incredible. Yeah. No, it's great to see. He looks a proper player, doesn't he? He loves a tackle. As you said, great in the air, composed on the ball. Good signing. Really good on
Now,
the face of it.
I don't know if either of you listen to the Peter Crouch podcast. You do get the occasional pearl of wisdom in there from Peter Crouch. He said that most teams play with one centre back who is the Buffalo and one centre back who is the Gazelle.
There you go.
And the Buffalo wins all of the headers, so he'd always try and stand on the Gazelle. Is there maybe a danger that we've got two Gazelles playing centre back, or could McGuinness be that Buffalo?
Yeah, I think he wins his fair share of headers. I think Wolfenden does as well. They're obviously not a gnarled old warhorse centre half, either of them, are they? I don't think either of them particularly looking forward to.
Do you think that they could handle a big centre forward, like let's say Ellis Harrison, who plays for Portsmouth, who's pretty big? And
they were up against Mandron at the weekend, and they were up against the guys from Gillingham the week before that. They're no slouches. They're not shrinking violets, are they? Any of those? They're pretty textbook League One strikers, you'd say. See what happens on Tuesday night. I think there might be a step up.
Enciala's a buffalo, isn't he? Probably a bison. Or he's a bison. Enciala.
What's the difference between a buffalo and a bison? You can't wash your hands in an Enciala. Yeah.
There you go.
No good in these times then. Mark Beck was quickly in with a Twitter question after the game saying an awful performance but a win nonetheless. I'll get to his question. Can you recall a time in which Town have played so poorly but came out on top? If so, can you give us our best alternatives?
Yeah, probably against Gillingham.
Yeah. Or this time last year.
I did have a little look at the fixtures from early last season, and I don't think there was any at home where we were quite as bad as we were against
Wimbledon. Were we not that good? I know we scored late.
We did create a few chances. Norwood missed a 1-on-1, and we did score.
Oh yeah, Norwood. Norwood was going for his one-on-one stage, wasn't he?
You got to try and think of a period of time where we were consistently winning matches, and that sort of narrows the field down.
Yeah, I've got one written down. I've got QPR at home on Boxing Day in 2015. Chambers scored a late winner, but we were dreadful that day.
We were. That's a good shout. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
but there must have been a few in between. But yeah, I hope Mark enjoys those answers. Mullet asks, if we're going to play Judge as a centre midfielder, do we have to adjust the game plan for far too many players to make it work? His roving looks far worse when so many others are not expecting him to drop deep, etc. Is there a position which suits him at ITFC? And I'm just going to jump in and say, we all thought Judge was going to play in the number 10 on Saturday, didn't we? And it would have been at least we could have had closure whether he can play in that position.
I think we said before the start. I think I piped up and said, wasn't Judge? Oh yeah, Judge, and someone said he's playing in in the role he should be playing. And I think I said, didn't he play that role against? Was it Accrington last year when we turned them over 4-1? And it was they weren't particularly good, but we played some really good stuff. And that's probably what I remember was Judge's probably best game in a Town shirt, even to date, probably. And I'm sure he was playing 10 then. But to see where he lined up yesterday, as Craig said, most of the game he's like sitting alongside Dazelle, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand it really.
He as Mullet says, he just affects the way we play and just disrupts so many other positions.
He's got no discipline.
For a
positional discipline.
For a guy of his experience, I just don't get it. I just don't get why he hasn't got the discipline, or if he hasn't got the discipline, for God's sake, make sure you're affecting games and scoring goals and setting up hatfuls of chances to compensate for the fact that you're not where you should be. But he's not doing either.
He's been disappointing. He's been disappointing as Judgy.
Yeah, I've got another Alan Judge question now from Tristan Ashby. What does Judge bring to the team? Runs around waving his arms a lot, but does he hurt teams? He did get an assist yesterday, didn't he?
He did, and that's good thinking. That's quick thinking. Yeah, but other than that, did he hurt them yesterday? No. Did he influence the game yesterday? No.
If you're going to take the majority of free kicks and corners, eventually you will be, you will sling a decent one in and get.
On that point, can I suggest Freddie Sears perhaps watches Match of the Day 2 tonight and watch James Ward-Prowse?
Why, you want Freddie Sears back on free kicks, do you?
No, not particularly. But if he can take them like that, I'll have him back on free kicks. Christ almighty! Wow.
Yeah. Brilliant. Is it? Would you be tempted to put him in the England team, Dave, simply because of his set pieces? Do you think?
Probably.
Freddie
Yeah.
Spears, I think
We're not strong in
probably has
midfield.
passed him by, Freddie,
Yeah,
hasn't it?
it's too late for him, I think.
Good God, those two today were unbelievable. And what I love about those, they're both in the same spot. You got to love that.
Brilliant. FPL Traxxer, I think this is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. With lockdown coming, will Oxford, Shrewsbury and Burton vote for points per game this time?
Yeah, it's unlikely that Wickham will do, I wouldn't have thought.
No.
Another tricky question from Jack Saunders. Why do we look more and more ragged and incoherent every week? Is that fair, Craig?
Yeah, we haven't looked particularly ragged. We just looked ineffective, haven't we? And I don't know. Am I willing to just throw them a bone in that? How much training are they actually being able to do at the moment? Playing all the time midweek and then at the weekends. Is it just recovery that they're being able to get under their belts rather than actually play and train formations and patterns and things? But it is quite alarming that we started off well and we seem to be already being in a decline, albeit results on.
Yeah,
really.
We were never brilliant though early on in the season, but we kept saying we're creating chances in games now. Is it a concern to you, Dave, that we're not really creating as many chances?
I think it is. Dazell's the one. As much as anyone wanted him in the team, and he's had a run, and he's done well. But I just think he should be affecting the game more. He's too deep, and sometimes I think he gets an easy ride, doesn't he? It's easy to play those balls. And he's very get your head up, take a look, pass the ball square or pass the ball back. We need to see more of him passing those balls. That we know he's capable of between the lines, but then. We've got to get him in the right position. He's got to receive the ball in the right position to do that. And he just last few games, he just hasn't. That's not necessarily his fault, but we haven't got him to that position.
Yeah, I think he's been let down by
I agree.
One of his fellow central midfielders at least. I don't. It's just that other role than Bishop, isn't it? Bishop's doing fine.
I think we nailed it tonight. We are missing Downs big time. Yeah.
Indeed, and it sounds like we'll be missing him for
a little while,
quite a while to come.
Yeah.
Dave Gort, playing poorly but beating mid-table teams, but struggling versus good teams. Deja vu, anyone? I mean, we've kind of already covered that one, haven't we?
Yeah.
Can any of the panel convince me of anything but a 1-0 defeat on Tuesday at Sunderland? Yeah, it could be 2-0.
Yeah, I was going to say
for 2 or 3-0.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 or 3 actually. Yeah. But again, it's weird, isn't it? Like we're top or joint top, and you're going to these teams, and I'm not expecting anything. I'll be delighted with a point. Absolutely over the moon with a point on Tuesday.
If you were offered a point, would you get on the bus?
Oh,
well, funnily enough,
funnily
enough, this morning I was watching my boy play football, and there's a guy who was over playing walking football, and he's a Sunderland fan who I know. We've got a funny little enclave of Sunderland fans in my town. And he came over and had a chat saying, big game on Tuesday. I said, oh, God, yeah. I said, we're playing bloody awfully. He goes, well, we're playing bloody awfully as well. He goes, we're slow. We don't move the ball quick enough. We're playing poorly, but still managing to win games. I think, well, hang on a second. That's us, not you. So I don't think he was particularly looking forward to a rip-snorting match. But, fans are the same, aren't they? It just goes to show that, they think they're playing poorly. They think they're doing things too slowly. They've got a stubborn manager who won't change the team.
Yeah. Is this just what League One looks like when you're near the top? Is this what Wigan did a couple of seasons ago?
Probably is.
Perhaps.
Probably is. Yeah. I quite look forward to Sunderland game because my old mate Tommy is summarising. Tommy Miller.
Oh.
So yeah.
How's he getting to the game?
Yeah, he's going to be Audi TT, man.
Yeah,
that'll be good fun.
Just talking about Tommy Miller, you see the and harking back to Crewe, that 6-4 match and the goals that we scored in that.
Right foot and left foot.
And that left-footed pass he just put into that far corner was just a goal, wasn't it?
Underrated player, very underrated player.
Yeah. And if you haven't listened to Dave Diamond's Tommy Miller interview, it is available. It's one of our recommended videos, I believe, on our YouTube channel. You're sure you can also find it on your podcast provider. It's a really good one, that. Mrs. Nuts asks, why do we make average teams look like Premier League? We don't. We don't have the answer to that one.
I think it's a bit harsh on. I think it's a little bit harsh on Crewe actually, because technically they were just very, very good.
I think maybe Mrs. Nuts is looking at their results so far this season, where they are in the league. Yeah. They are an average.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, the results would say they are average. Yeah. We won't. I don't think. I mean, the games I've seen so far, they're the best footballing side I've seen by a long way. Throw Lincoln into that. Doncaster, well, really, 4-1. But Christ Almighty, the mistakes we made that night gifted them sort of 2 or 3. But I don't know. It was the same. It was the same last season. It is deja vu. It was exactly the same last season, wasn't it?
What other teams seem to be able to do is stop us from playing the same way that they're being able to play. So why is it that Crewe can push up on us and put our defence under pressure and mark Dazelle out of the game, but us playing the same formation and system can't do the same to them in the other direction?
It's one that needs to be worked out. James Chidwick. We've spoken quite a lot about Luke Wolfenden already in this podcast, but I thought this was quite an interesting suggestion. Dave, do you think Wolfenden could play as a CDM? We've gone back to that CDM abbreviation, Craig, that we like so much. He could offer some protection and be a ball in a midfielder. Obviously, we talked about how good he is in the ball, but there's quite a big difference.
Don't see it. No,
you can't see him. Maybe
I don't see it. No, not really. No, I see him as a like I said earlier, if we're going to persist with this, this style of football, I see him being essential to staying really where he is. And he was better yesterday, wasn't he? Craig's right. I thought that certainly second half when it was all hands to the pump sort of thing. I thought those two centre halves stood up really well, didn't they? Really, really well. Stood strong as well. So no, I wouldn't want to see him move. Could he do it? Possibly, in as his career develops, but I wouldn't want to see him at the moment. I don't think
he's probably a bit too big. He's not agile enough, is he? I don't think.
Gangly.
Yeah. I always found central midfield hard. Just don't have the wing mirrors for it. And I am comparing myself to Luke Wolfenden there because he is lanky. Obviously,
I don't think I'd yet to see Luke play a half volley pass like you did, Mikey. I'll tell you what, I've yet to see that. Good player that he is.
Lovely. So I did just think, Craig, speaking about central midfield, and we've spoken about Emma Hughes, do you think that maybe there's a chance that he didn't play against Crewe because he's possibly going to play against Sunderland and Lambert doesn't trust him to play 2 games in 4 days? Would you expect to see him come in on Tuesday night, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so.
You would expect to, or I'm not asking if you'd like to see him, but would you expect Lambert to play him there?
I would expect. I wouldn't expect us to play against Sunderland with the same midfield three we played against Crewe because it's just far too lightweight, isn't it? And because Brenner seemed to be going on and on about the fact that Dazelle was not going to play the next game or Bishop wasn't going to play the next game. He seemed pretty set on the fact that one or the other of them wasn't going to play.
Do you mean the cup? Do you think he means the cup?
Yeah, he might have been. He might have been the weekend.
The cup.
So but Lambert just seems to want to play Judge regardless. So maybe Bishop will drop out and Hughes will come in.
I'd like to see Hughes in there with Bishop and Dazelle on Tuesday, and let's have a bit of a go at him.
You would think, well, mind you, they've got the weekend free, haven't they? You wouldn't think they'd be putting much of a team out. So it may be that we'll again play our relatively strongest team, and Sears will play again, and Edwards will play again, and Sunderland. Knowing they'll have the weekend off following it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was in the pub this afternoon, and I had to leave early because of the podcast, and my mates Edley and Tom Resch asked if they could put a question into the podcast, and they eventually came up with, should Ollie Hawkins be modelling his game on Shefki Kuchi or Jamie Scowcroft? What do you think, Dave? That's real pub talk, that is. About 8 pints
how many had you had by then?
I was on the Diet Cokes most of the afternoon, but yeah, they'd had about 7 or 8.
Well, wouldn't you like him to model his game on James Scowcroft? I mean, James Scowcroft was, again, I think for me, an underrated, and Craig might agree with me on this, I think quite an underrated player, actually. He could play that target man role, but what a touch he had as well. Awareness, clever footballer, Scowcroft. Sorry, who was the other one?
The other one was Shefki Kuchi. He probably doesn't have the pace for
No, he probably doesn't have the pace, but that'd be a great combination, wouldn't it? As a one player, sort of have the pace and the all round sort of aggressiveness of Shefki Kikuchi and the touch and awareness of Scully. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, a combination of the two would be good.
What
at the moment, I'd say
have we had
probably
Daryl Murphy. Can you think of any others, Dave?
Big target men? Like
I suppose you go back to Trevor Wymark. I don't.
No, you don't. No, you wouldn't compare him to that. But I suppose. But no, Wymark, he was goal scorer though. Hawkins, I don't see. Great, as you said, got off the mark yesterday. But do you really see Hawkins being a 10 goals?
I must apologise to our listeners for putting Trevor Wymark in the conversation there.
Yeah, a bit, but that's almost tantamount to putting Steve Whitten in there, for goodness sake.
That is what I was fishing for, actually.
He was never really a target. Only in his debut when he got 10 out of 10 in Match Magazine for a centre forward performance. I think that was pretty much it. Most of the time he was out wide.
You got that behind you on the bookshelf there, Craig.
Wizardry out wide, wasn't it? I wonder if
there it is for our viewers.
Mitch Davray is a bit of a
Mitch Davray.
He wasn't overly prolific,
blessed
was
with
he?
goals.
Yeah. What a lovely, delicate way of putting it.
Davray. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, really good. Yeah, good target man. Brought others into play. And Hawkins is, even at times yesterday was once or twice. Yeah, first half he starved of the ball, just didn't see it, and no one getting up alongside him. But a couple of times yesterday when we were struggling to get out, he did hold it up really well, and either bought a foul or bought players, brought people into the game. So I haven't got a problem with that. However, I think I'd like to see him up front. 4-4-2, no, I'd like to see him up front with someone like Jackson alongside him at some point.
It'd be interesting to see if Jackson can play that role. But we obviously need to just reprogram ourselves about playing it into channels into his feet rather than someone's head. But I was really impressed with him yesterday.
You're right. He ran the channels really well, didn't he? And he once or twice he held it up really well.
Jackson, I've got quite a long question here from Ipswich Regilo. If you had £1 for every time Paul Lambert said Saturday, Tuesday, how many pounds would you have? I think that's a rhetorical question. Yes, it's a busier schedule than usual, but that's what footballers love doing, playing football. I'm tired of hearing him whinge about it. Players have the best pitches, best facilities, best treatment, etc., etc. And in truth, I've not heard many players complain so far, only the manager. Surely players enjoy playing all of these games when it's a 2-week international break, we then hear about being caught cold when we come back. So it sounds like Football Regila had a few things to get off his chest there.
Well, as far as I'm aware, it's the same for every team, isn't it? Isn't everyone playing Saturday, Tuesday, and with far smaller squads than we've got to cope with it? So shut up, man. But just go on. I would pull him up on the fact that saying that we've got the best treatment. I'm not entirely sure
he did actually put in brackets usually. So he wasn't. Yeah, so he's saying that most teams do, but maybe some others don't. Okay, so Sunderland are obviously up next. Tractor Boy Pete wants our predictions for the team selection and formation. I think he's going to stick with 4-3-3, isn't he? And we expect Hughes to come in for Judge. Anyone else for anything else?
Oh, Sears, maybe. Do you think getting a rest, Sears?
Bennett's to come in, perhaps.
I just think he'll keep it as it was. He'll bring Hughes in for one of Judge or Bishop, and then everything else will stay the same, I think.
Injuries permitting, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, and the last question is from Adam J. Williams. If you had to spend lockdown 2 with only one member of the current Ipswich squad, who would it be and why? Cole Skews would get your decorating done, wouldn't he, Dave?
Cole Skews would get decorating done. Do you know where I'd go? I'd tell you what, seeing his place and seeing the facilities, I think I'd go to Chambos, because you get really well looked after, wouldn't you? Like he's looked after, those academy players, him and Mrs. Chambo looking after all those academy players, 3 square meals a day, and generally nice place to live in leafy. Spoiler alert, Tuddenham village somewhere.
Spoiler alert. After today's show, there'll be location.
So I think around at Chambos would be really nice. I think, and a good old boy as well.
Excellent. And Craig, Steve Whitten, I'm guessing.
Yeah, don't count. That don't count.
Well, he's over in Mallorca or somewhere, I think. So the weather will be nicer. I'll take Norwood because I'll just keep him on the straight and narrow.
That would be my choice. I'll go for Norwood. I imagine he's got some sort of decent virtual golf setup somewhere in the house, and yeah, I could try and feed him healthier food for the next few weeks and see if it works. I'm not sure.
Drive him around for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, not sure how Norwood would feel about having to live with the likes of us.
I'm not sure how he'd feel having to eat like a professional sportsman. I thought you were going to say there, Mikey.
Yeah.
Excellent. So thank you all for your Twitter questions, especially Edley and Tom in the pub. I'll just quickly go through the other results and have a look at the league table. So Sunderland, who we faced on Tuesday, won 2-0 at 10-man Gillingham. Rochdale and Bristol Rovers 1-1. Burton won, Blackpool 2. Peterborough won 5-1 at Shrewsbury to go top. I mean, they're just free scoring Peterborough every year, aren't they? Portsmouth lost 2-0 at home to Charlton. They looked like they were maybe on the way up under Kenny Jackett, but obviously not. Johnny Williams scored there for Charlton. Joey Barton's Fleetwood 2-0 against Oxford United. Milton Keynes drew 1-1 against the real Wimbledon. Swindon 2, Hull 1. Wigan 2, Northampton 3. And Doncaster, as we mentioned, Doncaster beat Lincoln. So the top 10 is sort of taking shape now. Most of the teams that you'd expect to be up there at the end of the season are already there. Peterborough top on 22 points and a positive goal difference of 10. We are second with a positive goal difference of 9. Then it's Lincoln with a positive goal difference of 8. So there's 3 teams on 22. Hull are on 21. So that's 4 teams at the top averaging more than 2 points a game. Charlton have only played 9 games. They're also averaging more than 2 points a game. Sunderland are 5th, and they're averaging exactly 2 points a game. So there's lots of, normally we'd expect 2 points per game to guarantee being right up there at the end of the season, but it doesn't look like it's going to pan out this time. There's maybe a bigger gulf between the top teams and the lower teams. And yeah, Sunderland have dropped out of the top 6. Then there's Doncaster, who seem to live in 8th spot. Fleetwood in 9th, and Plymouth, they're having a decent season so far with Frank Nouble in 10th.
And Oxford are rock bottom, aren't they?
I think they're 3rd bottom. I might be wrong. I've only got the top 10 in front of me. Do you want to get out?
They are. I've got them here. They're bottom. Yeah, they're bottom. They've got a couple of games in hand, to be fair, on some of the teams around them. But yeah, Wigan and Oxford are both in the bottom 4 at the moment.
Okay, so now time for some plugs. And please, if you've enjoyed today's show, please give this a like on YouTube if that's where you're watching us. Leave us a comment, ask us a question if you didn't ask a question on Twitter this time around, and just make sure that you're subscribing as well. It does make a big difference for us. Follow us on Instagram at Blue Monday Team. We'll be back. I say we'll be back. Blue Monday will be back for a live stream after the Sunday game on Tuesday. Please join in with a live chat. It makes it so much more enjoyable. Dave, Craig, is there anything either of you two want to plug?
Yeah, I'm making my seasonal debut on the Naked Football Show on Wednesday with Graham Blackburn.
Lovely stuff. And that comes out on Wednesday night, Thursday morning?
Yeah.
Well, it goes live on... Yeah.
Wednesday nights it's normally out.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Anything for you, Craig?
Other than just keep your eyes peeled. So hopefully in the next week or so we'll have another one of our interviews airing. And it's just from a slightly different era to what we've managed so far. So yeah, hopefully people will enjoy it when it comes out.
Excellent. And can I have your predictions for Sunderland as well, please?
0-2.
0-2.
Sorry, 2-0.
Is that away team?
No, Sunderland. I'm going for a bold 1-1.
That would be really good, wouldn't it?
It would be brilliant. A hard 4-1-1.
Yeah, I'm going for 1-1 as well. Alan Judge free kick.
A la James Ward-Prowse style.
I'm going to go really rogue here, guys. We haven't reached the hour yet. Do you want to do 2 little ducks? And this is the Ipswich versus Crewe 6-4 game from the mid-noughties.
Oh, no, God.
Don't know if you've got pen and paper ready.
When was the game? What year? What season was it?
It was
Joe Royal, wasn't it?
2003, 2004.
Tommy Miller.
Yeah.
Yep.
2003, 2004. Darren Curry.
No.
Hey!
You're out already. I think it came the following season, 04-05.
Oh Christ,
Yeah.
2003-04. Sorry, yeah, you're right. He did.
I noticed David Wright played for Crewe, didn't he? That
Yeah,
I saw in the highlights.
He was captain for Crewe that day. I think he was playing centre half actually. Yeah, Dave, do you want to keep going?
I'm out. Pablo.
Yeah, Pablo was there. Scored.
Yeah.
Scored a lovely goal in the second
Lovely
half.
goal.
Yeah. Cucci scored a lovely header, didn't he? Good old powerful header.
He did indeed.
He scored two, didn't he?
Can
That
you-
day, actually.
There was a future
Darren Ben?
England striker playing for the opposition.
Dean Ashton.
Correct?
Benty.
No, Darren Bent not in the squad.
Oh, way off.
John McGreal was playing it. John McGreal was did he get? Was it an own goal he scored? He was at fault for one or two of the goals, wasn't he, that day? I think.
Yeah,
Only because I watched the highlights.
yeah. He wasn't the
Yesterday.
only. He wasn't the only defender who played in the 2000 playoff final for Ipswich. Although he didn't play as a defender in that playoff final.
Naylor.
Yeah,
He did. I know Dave was talking about the documentary. I know David Johnson hasn't aged much, but Richard Naylor looks good as well, didn't he? Crikey,
Yeah, he did.
he looked as fit as a fiddle. That boy.
Yeah.
I'll just run through the Ipswich
Yeah.
team. I've thrown this on you last minute. Kelvin Davis was in goal.
Yeah.
It looks like Jermaine Wright played right back to begin with, but Drissa Diallo came on. Naylor, John McGreal centre backs. Matt Richards was left back. Then it was Tommy Miller and his Audi TT. Chris Bart-Williams, Jim Magilton, Ian Westlake in midfield.
Oh, that's
Cucci and Caniago up front. Andy Marshall was on the bench with Diallo and Santos. And Dean Bowditch was joined on the bench by Martin Reusser.
Wow.
Oh, he scored as well, didn't he?
He scored as well, yeah.
Reusser
sort of-
did,
didn't
like
he?
a cross, wasn't it?
yeah,
Cross,
looked like a
scrum
cross,
stuff.
but it was Martin Reusser, so
Yeah, well,
it may
let him
well
that
have
one.
been a...
He scored a really. Didn't Royce score a really good goal? It was at a Crewe in a League Cup game. Might have been a
Yeah.
season before. Really
Yeah.
good goal. Sort
We
of
hit
cut
it
in
into
and
the roof of the net and it got
roughed
caught
it
in
in
the
the roof of the
corner.
net. Yeah.
And you're saying about Ward Prowse scoring free kicks and two in the match. Royce did that, didn't he, in the Premier League? Was it against Bradford? He scored 2 free kicks, pretty much from the same.
It was
same
one free kick,
One free kick,
one
one
open
shot.
play goal. He's cut in.
Yeah. He cut,
yeah.
didn't
for
he?
the same, pretty much the same spot of grass,
Yeah.
though, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, remember him scoring a good free kick at West Ham. That was quite good fun.
yeah. Lovely stuff. So yeah, on to Sunderland we go. Thanks everyone for listening and watching, and wish for whatever you like.
This stage